I have something to say.
Ambrose knows how to get under the skin of Seth Rollins, although that's not exactly hard to do, just tell him John Cena's better than him. Ambrose says that's not the real belt he's left in the ring and it's just a replica, and he'll go find it for him. I like this story. One is a must-see superstar who is finally being given the chance he deserves. The other one is The Miz. Ryback wins via shell shock. Good match.
I have something to say.
Big Show decides to talk. Shall I come back later? Joe says he's been here for 20 years. And in those 2 decades, he has flip-flopped on heel and face turns more times than Hogan has been called out on nonsense. Just ask CM Punk lately. The IC champ plays head games with Show by goading him to come into the ring and calling him Little Man. This had better be good on Sunday. Barrett wins via bullhammer. If these two ever face off for the Undisputed Championship, I would gladly pay for a front row seat to see these two. This match was awesome. This was like seeing Shawn Michaels versus Randy Orton. Technical wrestler versus agile wrestler. It would have been decent if Rollins hadn't have won by pulling on the tights, but he is a tall, skinny, adult Eric Cartman. He was never going to play by the rules, and if he didn't, he'd say, "Screw you guys, I'm going home. I don't need this." No. And there's only somewhere over in the States going, I'm just glad this ain't me no more. Well, only just to make you feel better, I'll send you a bag of cheesy poofs. And he's just looking at the screen going, I hate you.
Bring out the divas.
2 of my favourite divas in a match that I'd also love to take out for coffee and pizza? Wait a minute. No, I see no flying pigs, nor only wearing a Cena shirt with Hogan shorts. This was a good striking physical contest. Alicia has gotten much better in regards to her quickness and her ring savvy. The only thing that hasn't changed is she's still gorgeous. Oh yes. Paige wins via PTO. Roman was about to get the pin over Kingston for his team, but then his buddies in the New Day decided to intervene, ended the match in a DQ, which bedlam then ensued, with the fans also chanting New Day sucks, which they do. Ziggler rushed to the ring with a ladder, taking out the New Day, and then Neville leapt atop the ladder and onto the brawl below. All that was missing from this was for Taz to come back and say, holy you-know-what. And also, just to note, yesterday, it had been 12 years since the ring imploded between Brock Lesnar and Big Show. I remember that like it was yesterday. Thursday fades out with Neville claiming the briefcase atop the ladder. Foreshadowing? Tune in to WWE Money in the Bank this Sunday on the WWE Network to find out. And speaking of which, it's now time to go through the card and my predictions for this year's Money in the Bank. King Barrett is facing R-Truth in a preview match on the WWE Network before the pay-per-view. It's nice to see that push is working out so well for him. I don't really foresee anything noteworthy coming out of this. If anything, if R-Truth gets the win, it might get him a little momentum to get back in the hunt for the Intercontinental Championship. But for Barrett, you know, at this moment, I don't feel like WWE know what they're doing with him. It's like, yeah, they gave him the King of the Ring title, which is something to be proud of, but I mean, those who go on, who win King of the Ring, go on to bigger and better things. I mean, look at Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Triple H, Shamrock. They never really did it with anything with him other than pushing him up to Intercontinental Championship status. And then look at what they did with Edge in 2001. Edge was just dominant. So if Barrett wins this, what do they do with him? Because again, I don't feel like they know what to do with him at the moment. So, the rematch from Elimination Chamber between Cena and Owens. I'm kind of half disappointed this is not a title for title match, because you'd think that one of the two would actually get bemused enough to actually get one to say, well, put your title up for grabs. Now, the match was epic at last month's Elimination Chamber, and it was something to behold, but I don't know. I think Cena will win this, and then the rubber match will go to Battleground, which will probably undoubtedly just be 2 weeks down the line. Seriously, WWE, tone back on the pay-per-views, it's too much. Tag team titles up for grabs next, with the New Day taking on the Primetime Players. Players have got a decent momentum going into this, and to be honest with you guys, I think it's high time that they actually won. They've been held back, underused, and undervalued for far too long, and the fans love them at the moment. And New Day, well, they're just terrible. And to be honest, I think they've had the belts long enough. I'm going for the Players on this one. Ryback versus Big Show. I say mulligan. I don't foresee anything good with this. Another Divas Championship match, but I'm hoping, at least this time, Paige will be the one to take the belt off Nikki Bella, because I've been very vocal about you know, the future Mrs. John Cena before, or if she is indeed already married to him. The girl is very beautiful. I won't take that away from her, but she is not a good wrestler. She might be somewhat athletically gifted, but I think she's a terrible champion. I mean, you look at, you know, previous Divas champions. Caitlyn had the power, but she also had the means to actually put on a good wrestling match. I mean, look how she won the title from Eve Torres back in early 2013. AJ is the longest reigning Divas champion to this day. Eve Torres, like I just mentioned, decent champion. Paige, I think she's already a 2-time Divas champion, more than worthy of carrying the division. And please, please, people, give Naomi a chance. The Divas division needs a fresh face to lead said division. And I've been very vocal about this as well. Naomi is that girl. But anyway, enough procrastinating. I want to say Paige, but I've got some inkling that she'll be screwed out of it again. Wouldn't surprise me if Brie Bella gets involved and performs twin magic. So, not happy with this. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Paige. The Money in the Bank contract match. There's only two people I can think of that will have the most momentum going into this. One of them being Dolph Ziggler, because I think he's ready to go back up to Undisputed Championship level, because the guy should have been WWE Champion at least twice by now. Not to say that the World Heavyweight Championship was anything to be sniffed at, because for the little amount of time he did have that belt, it did feel like someone noteworthy was actually having that belt again. The only other person I can see winning this, I mean, the fact that Kane has added himself, I have a theory. And considering how many predictions I got right at WrestleMania this year, I'm putting this theory out here. Kane will win the Money in the Bank ladder match. And what if Seth Rollins retains the Undisputed Championship against Dean Ambrose? Imagine the friction that will cause in the Authority if Kane takes out Rollins. And like I say, they're already at odds with each other. There's a lot of animosity, so wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And I could imagine the game being like, well, why have you taken the belt away from him? It's like, well, I had the contract. You know, every man for himself. I want to say Ziggler, but I've got a sneaky suspicion it'll be Kane. And let's be completely and bluntly honest with ourselves, people. Kane has probably only got a few years left in him. And the last time he was WWE Champion was when he beat Stone Cold Steve Austin for the then WWF Championship at King of the Ring 98 in a first blood match, which happened to have the Hell in a Cell lower down after Mankind and Undertaker. Good Lord, that was a match. Woo! And then, of course, Austin gaining it the night afterwards on Raw. And Kane has not held that belt. It's nearly 17 years to the day he hasn't held it. I think it's calling time nearly on his career, and I think he needs that one more WWE Championship. He's been ECW Champion, he's been the now retired World Heavyweight Champion. Give him the WWE title. You know, it's time. And then we come to the main event. The WWE Undisputed Championship in a ladder match between the Lunatic Fringe Dean Ambrose and Seth Eric Cartman Rollins. This has to be said, when Ambrose was given the 3 count at Elimination Chamber 2 weeks ago, that crowd in Texas went wild. This is a guy they should be pushing as not necessarily the face of the company, but as the Undisputed Champion, because the fans love him. He's got a very eccentric style in the ring. His mic skills are unbelievable. He doesn't have to oversell it. He just does it so naturally, to such a degree that people are like, you know, this guy's a little bit on the wild side and eccentric, and that's what we're looking for. And as good as Seth Rollins is, he's yet to prove himself to actually get the job done by himself, considering he has J&J Security, The Authority, Kane and Big Show do his bidding for him on occasion. You know, it kind of makes him look weak as a champion. So I'm going to have to say, if my prediction of Kane winning Money in the Bank happens earlier in the night, then I'm going to say Seth Rollins to retain. But if Kane doesn't claim the briefcase, then I think Dean Ambrose will win and we'll get the WWE Champion that we've been wanting for a while. And let's face it, folks, Ambrose is over like Stone Cold, Rock, and Cena in his early days over. You know, it's time. So, what do you think about this week's SmackView? And I have to address this. There's a reason why I've changed it from SmackBack to SmackView. It's because I found out that another thing was called SmackBack, and rather than be a little bit foolish and continue further and possibly get into trouble, I just changed the name, you know. It was a name that was good for a while, but you have to be careful, you know. But anyway, that's been this week's report. What do you think of this week's bout and your predictions and your thoughts for Money in the Bank? And you can comment either on this YouTube page, on dynamicnight.com, or if you're watching on Blip, you know, comment in the comment section below and use the hashtag SmackDown or hashtag MITB2015. Until next week, folks, have a good weekend.